with that, it was one giant sweep tonight in Detroit. Your San Francisco Giants take home the World Series title in only 4 games.
San Francisco's Civic Center Plaza comes alive as fans celebrate the Giants' second World Series win in 3 years.
And celebratory champagne when the championship Giants toast yet another world title.
It was an amazing finish. Closest game of the series, really the best game from a purist standpoint as far as a baseball fan in the series. Lots of strategy. The bullpen's put to use, and the Giants take it right down to the 10th inning, FP.
Yeah, and Marco Scruto came through big again. You had the right man in the right spot. You knew he was going to clutch up right there.
I'm Heather Holmes here at Civic Center Plaza with excited fans ready to welcome the world champions.
What do you think? We're underway now.
Oh my God, it's so fantastic! Woo!
Hey, Sal, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to march with the band.
Oh, my God.
You're rubbing it in now.
Is that a St. Ignatius man marching with the Reardon band?
How can you compare this to the perfect game? Can you?
I think this is even better. This is so awesome. We love this. We want to do this all the time.
We have live team coverage tonight. KTVU's Ken Wayne and Eric Rasmussen have been on the ground for those confrontations. We begin with Ken, who's live at 14th and Broadway. Ken?
Frank, we wanted to show you that 14th and Broadway is clear for the most part, but we also have still a number of people here and police on the sidewalk across the street in riot gear. We were doing some interviews with protesters and police around 8:30, talking about how peaceful the demonstration had been, but then things suddenly turned violent. Several police officers were hit with paint. We saw objects flying in the air and heard the sound of breaking glass. Police say that's when they gave a dispersal order to clear the streets.
As police clashed with protesters after dark, it was the second major confrontation of the day.
Hey, don't push me.
Around noon, officers met an angry crowd in the middle of Broadway near 14th Street. Flashbangs and tear gas forced us back. But not before our cameras recorded this man being tased by officers.
Take one. Didn't do anything.
Oakland police later confirmed they made 4 arrests during this confrontation.
It's a KTVU exclusive. Right now, a 21-year-old man is in custody in the South Bay being questioned in connection with the disappearance of Sierra Lamar. Good evening, everyone. I'm Frank Somerville.
And I'm Julie Hayner. A major break tonight in the disappearance of Sierra Lamar. KTVU News has learned Santa Clara County Sheriff's deputies have a suspect in custody, and sources tell us exclusively they are preparing to book him for murder. The breaking news now only on 2 from our KTVU reporters in the South Bay. Heather Holmes is at the Safeway store in Morgan Hill where the arrest took place. But we begin with Robert Honda at the Sheriff's Department in San Jose, where moments ago we got our first look at the suspect. Robert.
Well, Julie, here at the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office, there are high hopes that this arrest is the break that investigators needed to solve the Sierra Lamar case. Now, we were at this Safeway store on Tennant Avenue in Morgan Hill at around 6 p.m. when sheriff's detectives took a store employee into custody. He would turn out to be a suspect in the Sierra Lamar kidnapping case. We followed the detectives to the sheriff's headquarters in San Jose, and we're outside at around 9:30 tonight when detectives took 21-year-old Antolin Garcia Torres to the county main jail, where sources say officials plan to charge him with murder and kidnapping. Sources tell me detectives questioned Garcia for 2 hours about the missing teenager, trying to find out her location, but were mum tonight when we tried to get more details.
Is this the man associated with the Sierra Lamar case? I'm sorry, I can't make any comment right now. Thank you.
Here are what sources close to the investigation told me tonight. They say Garcia Torres is the owner of the red Jetta vehicle that investigators seized earlier this month and say is associated with the Lamar disappearance. Sources also say there is some DNA evidence linking Garcia Torres to the clothing found in Sierra Lamar's backpack. We have also been told that he has been under around-the-clock surveillance since he was identified, including at his job and at his home. The sheriff's office is declining to comment on the arrest or provide any details about what Garcia Torres has said, including whether he knows Sierra Lamar. Now, at this hour, investigators are still working this case and have emphasized that finding Sierra Lamar safe remains the top priority. Again, a suspect in the case, Antolin Garcia Torres, is now in custody tonight. Live in San Jose, Robert Honda, KTVU, Channel 2 News.
All right, thank you, Robert. Our team coverage picks up now with KTVU's Heather Holmes, who is live in Morgan Hill. Heather, this is a community that came together to really support the Lamar family.
They certainly did, and they have been for the last 2 months now, Frank. In fact, take a look. You can see just feet from where a missing person sign hangs in this storefront window. It was right here in this shopping center where the search for the man allegedly responsible led authorities today. And witnesses, they are describing for me a very chaotic scene here at the Tenant Station Shopping Center off Tennant Avenue, saying it all happened around 5:30 this evening.
I saw cops rushing to the parking lot, and then some girl came in and said they had their guns drawn.
That young woman works at this yogurt shop, and she, like everyone else in this small community, has been tracking developments in the Sierra Lamar case. And another woman who has been following this case very closely, she says she knows the person arrested. She works at the Safeway here in the shopping center, and she told me just a few minutes ago that she was on her lunch break when she saw officials with their guns drawn pointing at a man on the ground, and they took him into custody. That's when she realized it was a former co-worker at a different Safeway location here in Morgan Hill. She says she was stunned to learn that he was arrested in connection with the teen's disappearance. This development, though, is providing a sense of relief to some of those here in this community who have been participating for weeks now in searches for the missing teen and who have feared that a predator has been on the streets.
I've been saying that I just want them to find anything, so I'm relieved because I want her mom to know something and her family. She has siblings, so I feel relieved, and I hope whoever they caught, I hope it's that person, or I hope whoever they arrested, I hope it's that person, because it's just it's a terrible thing, and like whatever they find is important.
Now, I'm told that the person arrested worked at both of the Safeway locations here in Morgan Hill, but officials at the Safeway location say he hasn't worked at either one of them in quite some time. Now, I did reach out to Sierra Lamar's mother, Marlene, but I was told through a family friend, Frank and Julie, that she was just not up for giving any sort of statement tonight. But again, a big development, a person in custody in connection with the Sierra Lamar disappearance. And of course, a lot of people here in this community who have been rallying around the family are feeling a sense of relief tonight. Reporting live tonight here in Morgan Hill, I'm Heather Holmes, KTVU Channel 2 News.
More details now about Antolin Garcia Torres. He attended Central High, which is a continuation school in Morgan Hill, but he was only there for a few months and he never graduated. The only mark on his record is a 2009 charge for resisting arrest. His last known address was in Morgan Hill, and while his legal name is Antolin Garcia Torres, he apparently also goes by Antolin Garcia.
Sierra Lamar was last seen by her family of the morning of March 16th when her mother left home right before Sierra went to school. The very next day, on March 17th, an important discovery. The teen's cell phone was found just a few blocks from the school bus stop in Morgan Hill. One day later, authorities found Sierra's pink Juicy brand bag with some neatly folded clothes inside. The next week, the Class Kids Foundation got involved. It originated and organized the first large-scale volunteer searches. That same day, the sheriff's office said Sierra Lamar was probably abducted. Then, on May 8th, another critical discovery, a red Jetta with a black hood, that one seen right there. Investigators say that that car had been seen on surveillance cameras in 3 different locations near the Lamar home. And then tonight, of course, that big break in the case. Authorities made an arrest at a Safeway store in Morgan Hill.
Babies in here! All right. There's some babies upstairs!
This was the frightening scene that confronted fire crews this morning when a 2-alarm fire broke out in a 2-story apartment building in unincorporated Alameda County. One mother had to lean out of a balcony to lower her baby to a firefighter after she and 4 children were trapped upstairs. And this helmet cam video shows the conditions inside the apartment on Marcella Street.
Tom, it's Cassie. I'm working here with Julie inside the newsroom. Can you tell us what you're seeing, smelling? Are you hearing sirens? What's happening right where you are?
Yeah, I'm literally across the 580. There's a Point Richmond is directly across the interstate from the Interstate 580 that goes into Richmond, and then the other way goes across the Richmond-San Rafael. So I'm up in a neighborhood area, and the smoke is actually going straight up in the air and hanging a right towards San Pablo and towards Richmond in that area right now.
They are still waiting, Tori. The lines have gotten shorter, but they are by no means short. Let's give you a look at the latest bus to come up here on 20th and Broadway to pick up folks and bring them across the bay into San Francisco. That is the front of the line, but let me show you, as best we can, the back of the line, because it stretches all the way down Broadway, all the way to 21st Street. But believe it or not, it was twice this long earlier this morning. There is no doubt it's been a very long morning.
An exclusive recordings of one of the so-called Speedfreak Killers, Lauren Herzog, who committed suicide last month. KTVU News has been going through hours of interrogation tapes of him we obtained on Friday. On the tapes, Herzog says his childhood friend, Wesley Shermantine, now an inmate on San Quentin's death row, is responsible for as many as 24 killings.
What kept you from going to the police at that point in time and saying, look, my friend's a psycho, here's what he just did?
The psycho himself.
Because you're concerned, what, for your own safety?
Oh, yeah.
Herzog admits to being present at the killing of 25-year-old Cindy Vanderheiden in 1998. But tonight, KTVU's Amber Lee reviewed more of Herzog's interrogation and learned about more victims. She joins us with a story you'll see only on 2.
Tonight, I spoke with John Vanderheiden. He's the father of that young Central Valley woman whose disappearance led to the arrest of Shermantine and Herzog. He told me he saw the tapes during Herzog's trial more than 10 years ago. In one excerpt, Herzog puts the blame for the Vanderheiden killing solely on Shermantine and describes how the attack was carried out.
He had it like this, and I don't know if it was like this, like that, like, and he went like that. Okay. And I kind of went turned over the other way. And so it was more like this then? All right. And he continued to do that? Yeah, and he just took her to the ground.
On the tapes, Herzog calls Shermantine a cold-blooded killer, saying he killed as many as 24 people, and admitting that he was along for some of the crimes. Herzog describes a hunting trip where he and Shermantine crossed paths with 2 men who were pulled over in a car on the side of a dead-end road.
Which side did you walk up to first?
Drive side.
And then what happened?
They started shooting.
Okay. How many times do you think Wes shot totally?
I took him into his gun because he used mine.
Oh, really? All right. Okay. Once he's done shooting, then what happens?
He drug him out of the car and went to his pocket.
Herzog tells the detective the 2 lives netted $11, and while those victims were identified, many others have not been. Shermantine recently revealed the location of an abandoned well in San Joaquin County, where authorities unearthed 1,000 bones and bone fragments. He also provided information that led to human remains in Calaveras County. DNA testing identified one as Cindy Vanderheiden. On the tapes, Herzog says Vanderheiden pleaded for her life.
Did she ever ask you for help? Yeah. What did she say to you? She called me by a nickname. She yelled that nickname to help her. What was the nickname she called you? Slim. Slim? Yeah. What did she say? Slim, help me. Slim, do something.
Over 4 nights, we watched the same scene play out at Cafe Juliet on 14th Street in Midtown Oakland. Each night, our camera recorded women in skimpy clothing filing into the downstairs business that bills itself as a private room karaoke bar. A minivan dropped off as many as 7 women at a time.
Maybe we're like, what's going on down there? You know, is this like some kind of a, weird prostitution thing going on? Or...
Neighbor Anka Mashoyu and others say the scene we observed has been going on for years, but she told us it's not just the women and mostly male clientele that have her concerned.
We've seen a police officer kind of go in and out, sometimes at night, sometimes there's a police car parked out here for a couple of hours.
On our first night outside the bar, a marked Oakland police cruiser parked right in front of us. Moments later, we watched Sergeant Warren Young go inside. Shortly after he left, the women began arriving. The next night, Young's cruiser was back again, but it was another uniformed officer in another patrol car who parked and went inside. Officer Barry Coe made 2 visits to Cafe Juliet that night. The second lasted 27 minutes. As soon as Coe left, just before midnight, Sergeant Young returned. On his third pass of the night, Young drove through the parking lot next to Cafe Juliet using his spotlight on the cars, just as we saw him do the night before.
Pardon me, Sergeant. Eric with Channel 2. Just a quick question for you. Cafe Juliet on 14th Street?
Yeah, what about it?
Why are you there night after night?
Because my friend works there.
Sergeant Young spoke to us outside Oakland Police Headquarters.
Are you doing this as a favor to your friend?
No. I said, my friend works there. Not owner, not anything else.
But is that the reason you're giving this what seems to be a lot of your
No, because
time?
I only go down there when I'm off, and I stay there for length of time.
Young offered a different explanation when we told him about our video of him visiting the bar in uniform during his shift.
Well, when I'm working, I do a security check there. Because what happens is that, can we talk off camera for a second and I'll tell you what's going on?
He said he couldn't elaborate because of an investigation, but Young insists there's nothing illegal happening inside Cafe Juliet.
Okay.
And I had a regular tell me flat out, you can get girls here. Does that concern you to hear that?
No, that is completely untrue. Well, I can't say for the fact because I don't follow those people home, right?
Can you tell us what kind of business is being run here?
Karaoke bar.
We found the bar's manager, John, out front.
What about all the girls we see come in here every night?
See any girl coming here right now?
Well, we've seen girls.
Any police officer should know, as you and I should know, what's going on in there. It's not singing karaoke.
We showed our video to former Alameda County Sheriff Charles Plummer. He says the Oakland Police Department should be questioning what its officers are doing here.
I would start an immediate investigation. Absolutely. Right now.
Plummer, with more than 50 years in law enforcement, doesn't believe we stumbled into an ongoing investigation.
If they were checking on this place, it wouldn't be a uniform that would be doing it. It'd be plainclothes people.
A Bay Area teenager with a big grin and big dreams. At age 15, Kayla Reed's future looked bright. But in early December 2005, the light turned dark. Young Kayla disappeared.
We love you and miss you, Kayla.
On January 10th, 2006, it became very real. Her body was found in the Central Valley Canal, and a homicide investigation was underway. 2 weeks later, at this candlelight vigil in Livermore, there was Angel Sheets, Kayla Reed's mother, the same woman who police say initially reported Kayla missing from their townhouse. Naomi Gaunt lived right next door.
We told them that we heard them screaming a lot and fighting a lot. When I first heard about it, I thought that Angel might be involved somehow.
And so did Livermore police. Nearly 2 years after Kayla's body was found, Angel Sheets and her friend Dennis Murphy were named persons of interest. Investigators said Sheets failed a polygraph when asked about covering up physical evidence from that night. They also said Dennis Murphy told detectives quite the story about the night Kayla disappeared. Murphy said he went to Angel Sheets' townhome to smoke meth with her. But when Angel could not find the drugs, she blamed Kayla, pushing and holding her daughter against the fridge, telling her, "This could get me killed, but it's not going to get me killed. It's going to get you killed."
We took a close look at statistics from the State Office of Traffic Safety. The numbers show San Francisco County ranks #1 among California's 58 counties for pedestrians killed and injured by cars. The news is bad for cyclists as well. San Francisco's also #1 for bicyclist deaths and injuries.
Every day I cross Market Street on my way to work. I'm aware of these, very highly aware of these issues.
San Francisco County epidemiologist Megan Weir says the figures are in some ways not surprising.
When you're comparing San Francisco to a more rural place or more suburban place per mile traveled, there's naturally more opportunities for conflict in a vibrant, dense city such as San Francisco.
San Francisco is also #1 for speed-related deaths and injuries, nighttime deaths and injuries, and hit-and-run deaths and injuries.
More than 70 weapons seized.
In my 15 years as a federal agent, I've never seen this many machine guns in one investigation.
Including more than 30 fully automatic machine guns. These do look like guns you'd see in a war zone.
Absolutely.
Even more shocking, agents say, is where these guns were coming from.
Early on, we heard references to special forces. None of us believed it.
This is all straight back from the shift.
An undercover detective working for the ATF was the first to discover these nearly untraceable guns were sneaked in from Iraq for sale in the U.S. We disguised the agent's voice to protect his identity.
The person that was selling the machine guns to me told me that the person was a special forces or military type person.
Lean into it and start firing so your body never shifts and you can have that radar just on him.
It sounds like pretty bad. That way he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Navy SEAL.
I think we were all pretty shocked.
That this was an active Navy SEAL?
Correct.
ATF Special Agent Eric Fox helped build the case against 34-year-old Nicholas Bickle of San Diego, a member of the U.S. Navy's highly trained SEAL Team 5 who served 2 tours of duty in Iraq.
Yeah, I'm sure they have it with you.
For what? Taken?
For my Iraqis. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Careful on that digging.
It was a desperate rescue effort.
Every time she moved and every time I actually tried to scoop more snow up, she sank deeper.
Anybody got another rope?
This is never-before-seen video of crews trying to save the life of Kristen Jacobson, an experienced skier buried upside down in a snowbank and running out of air.
I remember, being thankful that it wasn't one of the kids, thinking that I didn't think this was how it was going to end.
It started on a picture-perfect day just 2 weeks ago. The sun was out and fresh powder blanketed the Sierra Tahoe resort.
We decided to go maybe 10 or 15 feet off of the trail.
But when Eric spots a slight divot in the snow, he hesitates.
As I'm saying, don't go there, as those words are leaving my mouth, she just disappeared.
All I remember was falling, but not falling like I caught an edge or I was out of control. It was just sinking, I guess.
A camera worn by a skier who stopped to help shows the incredible situation. Look closely and you can see just the bottoms of Kristen's skis in that snowbank. Remember, she was upside down. Eric is wearing the green sweatshirt and it sunk to his chest while trying to dig her out.
Chain installer Robert Thompson has been at this job for 22 years.
Go forward! Hey, yeah, whoa, dude.
And it remains dangerous.
We're stuck on a sheet of ice. I'm hugging the tire trying to communicate.
Business has been slow all year for chain installers, and this being Tuesday, it was a slow day despite the snow, but there were many accidents to report.
They just cleared up a 6-car pileup within 10 minutes ago because people are driving too fast, even with chains.
Just past Blue Canyon and the Nyack exit heading eastbound, we found this 3-car pileup. A Jeep and an SUV spun out, and a third SUV joined the collision.
It's usually a chain reaction when someone spins out and has an accident. Usually the cars behind it are also involved, so that's what happened here.
CHP officer Tim Brown says speed was a factor, but even with 3 cars crashed and just 1 lane open, we saw plenty of drivers fly past this accident, not even slowing to take a look.
Went through during the morning commute. It made a mess. It was wet. It was windy. Check out some of the rainfall totals out there.
We have live team coverage spanning the Bay Area. Meteorologist Mark Tamayo's monitoring the windy conditions at the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge.
I will say about a minute ago, this gusted to around 16, 17 miles an hour, and I guarantee you, if you head across that span right now, you'll find some stronger winds.
Well, Steve, out here, the rain has been pretty constant, moderate to heavy at times. It has lightened up at times when you said it would, and giving you a live look here at 101, where it is a messy drive.
This was a speech really suited for this audience here, full of campaign workers, campaign volunteers. The president said this is the best campaign team and volunteers in the history of politics.
Mitt Romney always said he wished he could fulfill his father's dream and for him to be elected president. But we've seen tonight, obviously, that has not happened.
So let's take a look at Ohio and tell you why it is so important. There are 18 electoral votes in Ohio.
It happens every weekend night along the Broadway corridor in San Francisco's North Beach district. Hundreds of partiers show up ready to drink and dance the night away. But at Monroe's, there's one crowd that's not welcome.
We don't take party buses.
The question is why? party buses bring in excited customers, ready to fill the bar.
It's my birthday today.
You know, we doing it, man, party bus out here.
This is like the main spot, like everybody calls to come to San Francisco.
Bus fare often includes VIP passes to clubs. Some clubs pay party buses to bring them customers. For San Francisco clubs, it would seem like a big boost for business, with these buses transporting ready-to-party passengers right to their front door. But some club operators say the buses are bringing nothing but bad news.
Millions of Bay Area drivers depend on the data collected by Caltrans.
Well, it seems like a waste of money if it's not working accurately.
Christina Curry of Danville is one of them, regularly driving Interstate 680. The data is collected by Caltrans using 3 principal methods: specialized loops of wire under roads, wireless sensors replacing the old loops, and fast-track transponders in vehicles. But there are far too few fast-track devices to accurately measure traffic flows, especially outside of Alameda County. And now, KTVU has learned the other 2 technologies have largely failed. The cost to taxpayers, $60 to $80 million. One top Bay Area transportation official who asked not to be named because he has to regularly work with top Caltrans officials calls it, quote, a scandal.
Caltrans has known the data being sent to these electronic message boards are faulty at key Bay Area locations. It has also failed to report it to the paying public, the agencies that depend on the critical information, and even the state legislature that it's accountable to.
From Chopper 2, 45-foot boats carved the bay. Colorful 80-foot wings, pushing them over 30 knots. From a chase boat, you get a sense of speed and daring. But from my vantage aboard France's Team Energy, it's breathtaking. Lightning turns and pelting spray. I'm with one of the best crews in the world.
But he's the best seller, it's the best boat, and the best competitor, so...
Skipper Jan Bouchard, winning multi-hull races for 25 years with tactics and helmsmanship.
If you want to win the race, you have to take some risk, but you have to manage the risk.
I knew it wasn't going to be some stuffy and stodgy yachting event, but I had no idea. This is more like NASCAR on the water, fast and furious.
2 seconds after the start, you have 25 knot speed, so it's crazy.
The boats are basically identical. In competition, though, they make wicked darts at one another. 11 boats over a tight course just inside the Golden Gate.
As a place, it's really challenging because it's really windy.
On one acceleration, I lose my grip and go overboard. I'm picked up in seconds. A wild crowd packed the sidewalk, 2nd and C Streets, downtown Petaluma. And as the front door popped, you're gonna be number 1 to your right. Tickets were taken.
Oh, we're just so excited.
And snacks served with pre-game predictions.
10-0.
Dished out on the side.
40-1.
40-1, I like yours. This is game day in Petaluma.
I used to be a cheerleader a few years back.
Well, you're still cheering now.
Yeah.
Tonight's special report is a cautionary warning during this season of giving. KTVU's Rita Williams spent 4 months investigating an organized group collecting donations outside of Bay Area stores. And we learned they're padding their pockets, but not for the charity they say they represent.
You have a good day.
Giver beware. You give, but where does your money go? How do you know?
Do you feel bad that you're collecting under false pretenses? If you're legitimate, why are you running away?
We taped this woman who calls herself Dee, collecting money in San Jose for Rosalie House. What she told our producer in this undercover video was a shelter for homeless or battered women and children.
What shelter do you use it for? For Rosalie's House, for battered women and children.
Oh, where's that?
Huh?
Where's that?
It's in Santa Clara County.
She's conning people. She's a con artist, and people are thinking they're giving money to a worthy cause.
That's why this shopper contacted us. We watched Dee arrive before dawn to get a spot in front of a coveted Target store and stay until well after dark. We saw people give her money, lots of it. In return, she gave them a sucker.
How much have you given to Rosalie House?
I'd say maybe $10, $15. I mean, we don't have a lot to give.
For 4 months, we dug deeper and found the story was much bigger than this one woman. What appears to be a ring right out of a Dickens novel, operating for at least 2 years.
I know it's a scam.
Navy veteran Dean Harvey says a year and a half ago he was homeless in San Jose and recruited by the same folks.
On the collections,
it's a 60-40 split.
You get 40, they get 60.
You get 60, they get 40.
With 0 left for the charities he says are non-existent.
I was hungry and I was broke, but I wasn't that broke.
We visited the real Rosalie House in San Francisco, spelled slightly different, for survivors of domestic violence. Folks there said they have great need and the street solicitors are robbing them of donations. They complained to Target and the district attorney in San Jose, but nothing happened.
It's frustrating to not be able to have somebody handle it in an appropriate manner.
Target and other stores put up signs warning customers not to give.
I came in and asked the management about it. I said, who is this lady and why is she out here? They said they don't want her, so they said call the cops, and I did.
Did the police come?
No.
San Jose police spokesman Albert Morales used to work in fraud. He says the unit's gone from 8 to 2 detectives investigating 4,600 cases a year.
You know what? I spent probably the most amount of hours on a fraud case, only to come to find out that the punishment they received was far less than some violent criminal received. And they got away with a lot more money.
Street officers don't check to see if the tax ID number of the alleged charity is valid. In this case, it isn't. The number is for a city business license you get online. The person who runs the office told us the information you submit, even your name, is not verified. If they'd checked like we did at the location listed for Rosalie House, they'd find this motel and folks who say they've never heard of it. Is it stealing?
I would say it is.
St. Joseph Catholic Church's Sharon Miller has spent 3 decades working with the homeless and domestic violence victims. So she was suspicious when she saw a man collecting for Rosalie House, not the one she knew in San Francisco. She called Willie McMillan at the number on the flyer to see if there was shelter space for one of her pregnant clients.
He said, well, we do work with individuals, we do get them into motels, but we're out of money now.
Willie? When I called Willie McMillan, he asked why I was picking on him, said he would call me back with his tax ID number and an attorney would call me. No one has. What's the name of this charity? As for Dee, when she saw us coming, she grabbed the money lockbox and suckers. Can you ask Willie to come out here?
You are the boss, not me.
Willie's the boss, so you're talking to Willie? Loaded them into her car, a BMW, and sped away, hitting a shopping cart as she went.
Happy holidays. I'm Julie Hayner. Each year at this time, we showcase the talents and creativity of our photojournalists in a show dedicated to the holidays. Through their lens, they bring us the spirit of the season from all around the Bay Area. We're here at Christmas in the Park in San Jose, not far from where our first story takes place. In 1983, the town of El Viso was hit hard by the El Nino floods. The tragedy prompted a South Bay family to give rather than receive. Joe and Judy Santiago set out to spread holiday cheer with just a box of candy canes. As photojournalist Chris Paxton shows us, 29 years later, the Santiago's generosity continues to grow.
We need one more.
Perfect. Oh my gosh, what a deal. All that choice of oh, here's something.
You guys want to check if we had more of these in the back?
It's down to science now.
Can we do this? Okay, 4.
We need 5 now.
Little girl would be happy with a pink monkey.
We keep track of them. By boys and girls, by age group, by year.
2, 1. Drop the ball. Happy New Year.
The gifts we give out are from infants to 13 years old. Last year we probably had 15 carts loaded up with gifts. You people are so awesome. We really appreciate this.
The kids just love meeting Santa.
He's so excited to meet Santa Claus right now.
Come to meet with Santa.
Oh, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
The family gets their picture taken with Santa.
Big smile, there you go. Good.
Merry Christmas, family.
Are you asking me what?
Yes, what you want for Christmas?
A monster truck, a real one.
We had probably about 500 children. Start out with like 5 right now.
My grandma she's a go-getter. She just loves what she does and she's so good at it, and you know, it's just part of her personality. That's how this has gotten where, you know, it's reached where it has.
Good job, Pedro.
Thank you.
We came out here that first year to do Santa, and I don't know, it just grew on us and we wanted to come back.
You got Peter?
Girls are 3,
One.
1. 6-year-old boy.
A girl, 12 and 8.
No, wait.
So it's been a very small community, and then there was a flood a long time ago, and a lot of the families were put out.
It was a scene of frantic desperation. Hundreds of Alviso residents trying to save their homes from flooding. Some people threw their bodies against the wall of water trying to hold it back.
We did see it on television, and then one of my daughters, her mother-in-law, volunteered at the library and asked us to come out at Christmas, so that was how it started. They knew we had a Santa suit.
Yeah, get in the back.
Seeing their faces light up when they see Santa is just something that it breaks me up.
You can choose whatever you want. What color?
It gives us such satisfaction. It's a gift that I think keeps giving to all of us.
Ready? Big smile.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
A huge early morning fire in Oakland has created commuter chaos. It shut down all BART service between the East Bay and San Francisco. Live team coverage ahead on Mornings on 2.
Complete Bay Area news coverage starts right now. This is KTVU Mornings on 2.
Well, good morning to you. Welcome to Mornings on 2. I'm Dave Clark.
Good morning. I'm Tori Campbell. It is Thursday, June 14th, and we begin with developing news that is throwing the morning commute into a huge mess. A building fire next to the West Oakland BART station has shut down BART service between Oakland and San Francisco, and that's forced thousands of commuters to look for other options to get to work. We have live team coverage. Sal Castaneda is following the traffic impact. Claudine Wong is talking with weary commuters. But first, Tara Moriarty is live at the command center. What are they telling you about how long this could last, Tara?
Well, unfortunately, Tori, we're in sort of a holding pattern right now because PG&E actually has to turn off the main gas line in order for arson and fire to get inside of the fire. PG&E is telling the fire department they need crews to actually cool it down in order for them to turn off the gas. So we are sort of at a standstill. And if you look behind me, you can see the water sort of dripping there, some hot spots still burning. And above me, the BART tracks that are still that are melted from the fire and are now shut down.
2544, when you get here, you have you come down Market from 7. You have you marry up with 2541 and support this side of it.
This is video you will only see on 2, taken by the first unit to respond to the scene here off 7th and Mandela Parkway. It's right near the West Oakland BART station. Flame shot 150 feet into the air. The fire spread out over 2 blocks. It raged for a half hour before crews were able to get a handle on it. It destroyed the 5-story senior center under construction, some cars, street signs, and the BART tracks.
You know, there are 2 main issues. One is the electrical situation, and that's a bit complicated because there are very high voltage lines that we need to make sure are safe to re-energize. And then the other is there's 2 poles that have been damaged by the fire that are in danger of falling on the tracks. So a third agency needs to come and remove those poles.
Now, this is an overhead view of the scene where, again, hot spots are still visible. No one hurt in the fire, but 62 firefighters had to tackle this massive fire. Again, if you need to use BART this morning, there will be no trains running between Oakland and San Francisco for hours. The agency is recommending commuters use AC Transit or the ferry service because they're scrambling to get a bus shuttle in place. Now, we want to throw a number up on the screen here for you. It's 510-238-4031. That is the number for fire investigations. They are trying to figure out if this is a case of arson and want anyone who noticed any people in the area of 7th Street and Mandela Parkway around 2 o'clock this morning to give them a call. I'm live in Oakland. Right now, we're going to head over to Sal Castaneda to see what the roadways are looking like, and I can imagine it's a headache out there. Sal?
It sure is, Tara. This morning's commute is really terrible at the Bay Bridge, where a lot of people are just taking the car into San Francisco, and you can see see from our news chopper, too, that this backup extends for a good long time. This is almost as if there had been a major crash on the bridge, but really what it is people who have heard about the BART system not taking them into San Francisco and getting into the car. That's what a lot of people have had to do, and we have a big backup. Some of those middle lanes for fast track aren't as congested as the outside lanes, but still there is a big backup that stretches way beyond the MacArthur Maze and into San Francisco. And on the bridge, it actually is not all that bad. There's a little bit of crowding there, but the backup getting to the bridge is very, very slow. Now, I want to check out the other side. San Francisco, northbound 101 traffic looks good, and so far there is heavy traffic on the San Mateo Bridge, but unfortunately getting there on 880 is very, very slow. And I also want to mention there's a crash on 37 and 29 that has slowed traffic down on 37 in the eastbound direction right there. I want to move the maps all the way down to the South Bay just to check on the South Bay here, and we're off to a decent start, so the South Bay not having as much wear and tear on it because of this BART situation. So it's 7:05. Let's go to an alternate route that people are using, and that would be getting on a bus into San Francisco. KTVU's Claudine Wong is there in downtown Oakland with some long lines. Claudine?
Absolutely, Sal. It's a mess down here. I wanted to take a look at this bus. This bus is actually headed to San Francisco, but when it pulled up to this line of people waiting, there were already quite a few people on board, which makes it very difficult for any of these folks to get on board. How long have you been standing here?
45 minutes.
45 minutes. So when you saw this bus pull up and it was
I just
full,
knew. Oh, God. Oh, my God.
What time are you normally in the city?
7. I'm at work at 6:45.
You're at work at 6:45. And what time did you guys get to the BART station this morning?
I got there probably at 6:05.
6:05, and what did you hear right away? Which station?
I didn't even hear it on BART. I heard it on the radio. They said to get off on MacArthur or 19 to get a bus, and this is the second bus we're not going to get on.
And it's been, how long have you been waiting
Probably
here?
an hour, 45 minutes to an hour.
An hour. And you're actually in better shape because if we take a look, I want to take you guys all the way down and around this corner because people are starting to get a little frustrated because an hour and only two buses, and take a look at that line. That stretches all the way down Broadway, and it just keeps on going. I see another bus actually headed in our direction. That's the third bus, so maybe these bus bridges are getting a little bit better because we've been waiting a long time. I asked the supervisor out here how long until these buses start coming regularly, and she said she just doesn't know. They are trying to work these buses in and around this area to get all these folks into the city, but keep in mind these buses hold about 50, maybe 60 people if you're lucky, and so when you're talking about a line like this, we're thinking maybe 10, 15 buses of people that you got to get out of here. So it looks like this bus that we're looking at, the other one that pulled up was full. This one looks like it's empty, which will be a big relief for the folks up here. I want you to take it back up here because you talked about the open. We talked about those people who are maybe a little extra traffic, people coming in on the bridges. There's some people up here that we just passed we didn't get to talk to, but I know, look, this one's empty, right?
Yes, it's empty.
And you're going to the open.
Yes.
And you came from
Davis? We left at 4:45 a.m.
And you've got your passes, you just need to get there.
Yes.
And you need to get to see Tiger, right?
Yeah.
That's where you're headed. Okay, you're going to get on this bus. I'm going to get out of your way because I don't want to get in your way. But again, this is only the third bus they've seen this morning since these problems started. These folks want to get on this bus. They want to get into the city. It is not an easy ride. It looks like they will have more seats on this bus, but again, seats are already taken. I asked that supervisor where else people are getting on. They're getting on at 12, so this may be the second stop for some of these buses. It is going to be a very, very, very long commute this morning. Live here in Oakland, Claudine Wong, KTVU, Channel 2 News.
Yeah, certainly will be. All right, thank you, Claudine. Great job there, and we'll check back for updates throughout the morning. Of course, we will return also to the fire scene throughout the morning for live updates, and also we'll be checking traffic because there may be other impacts on other parts of the road as people try to find other ways to get across the bay. And we will also be checking on how HT Transit is helping commuters this morning. We'll have the latest on our website, and you can also get more information that will be sent to your mobile device at ktvu.com.
Time is now 7:08. In other news, San Francisco police busy searching for suspects in two separate overnight shootings. One person was killed, 3 others were hurt. The first shooting was about 10:30 on Silver Avenue near Elmira Street. Investigators say one person was killed, another was critically wounded. A third victim is expected to survive. Now, the second shooting happened a short time later on Cameron away right near Candlestick Park. Investigators say there's one victim, but we don't know how his injuries, the extent of the injuries. We still don't know if those two shootings are connected.
All right, we're going to switch gears right now to some really good news. Giants fans are still celebrating this morning after Matt Cain threw the first perfect game in Giants history.
On the ground, Arias from deep third, got him! And that's a perfect game.
Oh, that was a long throw from third, but his teammates went wild along with the crowd at AT&T Park. Cain retired 27 straight batters, striking out a career-high 14 in the 10-0 win over the Astros. And he says the experience was just unreal.
I literally felt everybody on the mound with me. I mean, it was going. The whole stadium was electric right then. I mean, it was, wow, it was unbelievable.
Check this out. Cain got a little help in the 7th inning. Oh, look at that dive. Gerger Blanco made a great diving catch to help preserve the 22nd perfect game in Major League history.
That is amazing, and Giants fans who were there can't believe they saw an historic game. How about that for luck? 42,298 fans celebrating as they left the ballpark last night. Only one other Major League perfect game matched Matt Cain's 14 strikeouts. The fans of all ages knew they were at something special, one of the greatest games ever pitched.
Best game I've ever been to, 10-0, come on.
Best game, by far.
Go back.
Best game.
Yeah, the excitement really built all through the game, and towards the end, fans were, as you can imagine, hanging on every pitch, and then they finally just erupted as that last play of the game made it all official. Now, on our Channel 2 website, KTVU.com, we have reports about the moments after the game. AT&T Park just went to a new level because Matt Cain pitched an historic perfect game.
And we're not done with sports happening now. Golfers are stepping into the tee box for the first round of the U.S. Open in San Francisco. The powerhouse threesome of Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, and Bubba Watson. Some say this trio, no surnames necessary, set to start in about 25 minutes. The Open will be a challenge for even the best players. Most of the fairways are slanted. Some say the first 6 holes are the hardest of any major. So very exciting out there for a lot of golfers. A lot of troubles, though, for people trying to get to the U.S. Open, as we saw in Claudine's report.
We know.
Yeah.
Well, Tori, time now, 7:11. Let's check the weather for this. Steve is here with the forecast.
All right, thank you very much, Dave Torrey. And, well, ferries will be running full today, I imagine, along with I had a nice tweet from the Bay Bridge. Said, man, it's heavy on me today. It's crowded, and for good reason, for all the delays today. But the weather's already starting to see the fog burn off, fog or sun, and then fog, then sun for parts of the bay, but sunny and warm or hot inland, depending on your location. Since my forecast area seems to go from the Oregon border down to Brawley, it'll be hot for some inland, excuse me. We do have 60s on the coast, 70s or around 80s, but tomorrow we'll start that big warm up. In fact, you've probably heard by now, it looks to be very, very warm to hot on Saturday. Some of that fog will get wiped out with a northeast wind. So today we have some fog, but it'll be decreasing over the next couple of days. Near 100 degrees inland, high fire danger will also be with us. 50s on the temps. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. Okay, here we go. High pressure builds in. It's going to be warm to hot again by the coast, 60s or 70s, inland 80s to 90s. And then we'll see this really start to get very warm, orange and red as we head to Friday and also Saturday. So a breezy afternoon, but still lots of sun. I think everybody's in on that. 80s, 90s. Depending on your location, 80s could be in the upper 80s to low 90s, or 60s and 70s closer to the coast and bay. 90 Gilroy, 79 San Jose, 78 Santa Clara, 76 Sunnyvale, 60s, 70s on the peninsula and along the coast. The big news will be over the weekend when it'll be sunshine, it'll be hot and windy. Looks like cooler weather returns by Monday.
All right. Thank you, Steve. It is 7:13. Violence against peaceful observers who attacked UN vans as they tried to enter a town in Syria.
Also, California Democrats say they've got a plan, their solution to the state budget gridlock, but is it enough to meet Friday's deadline?
Good morning. Huge traffic jams getting to the Bay Bridge because of BART service suspension from the East Bay to San Francisco. More on what you can do to get in and out of the city.
Time Time now 7:15. Well, a team of United Nations observers, they are now in the Syrian town of Haifa, just a day after government troops said they regained control of the area from rebel fighters. Yesterday, supporters of Syrian President Assad attacked UN vans trying to get to Haifa. Look at these pictures. The crowd threw rocks. They hit the vans with sticks and metal rods. Now, as the vans turned to leave, then they were fired on. No UN observers were hurt. Well, 5 months before Election Day, there's already a big face-off today in Ohio. Today, both President Obama and Mitt Romney will give dueling campaign speeches about the economy in that battleground state. KTVU's Scott McFarland is reporting now. These speeches are scheduled just minutes apart. Scott?
In the same state, Dave, just minutes apart, one in Cleveland, one in Cincinnati, and Mitt Romney already trying to step on President Obama's economic message today, releasing this new ad, which criticizes the president's gaffe from last week in which he said the private sector of the U.S. economy is doing fine. There's the ad on your screen. At the same time, the White House press secretary taking on Mitt Romney, saying the Republicans don't have a strong economic plan of their own.
There's no sort of alternative idea being proposed, unfortunately, by Republicans, and I think that is part of the debate that we'll have in the fall.
A major speech is how the president's speech is being billed today in Ohio. Fellow Democrats have been urging him to step up his economic message. Mitt Romney, recognizing how important Ohio is going to be in the election, making 3 stops in the state today, one near Cincinnati, one near Columbus, and like the president, one near Cleveland. Live in Washington, Scott McFarland, KTVU Channel 2 News.
7:17, California's Democratic leaders say they will schedule a vote on their latest budget plan before tomorrow's deadline. That's even though Governor Jerry Brown has not yet said whether he'll sign it. Assembly Speaker John Perez says the lawmakers are on the same page as the governor over how to close the state's $15.7 billion shortfall. Democratic leaders say their plan meets the governor's criteria for a balanced budget, but makes smaller cuts to welfare programs.
All right, time now 7:18. We have major commute problems this morning. Sal, your hands are full today.
They are full. As a matter of fact, we are looking live at a picture from News Chopper 2 of BART workers up there repairing the damage from the fire that was close to these BART tracks in West Oakland. We just heard from BART. They say that partial service will be restored by this afternoon, and they're hoping for full service by 5 o'clock tonight. That just came across from a BART spokesman to us, so they're working as fast as they can. Now, meanwhile, the BART service is not working between San Francisco and the East Bay and the other way around. Let's go to the MacArthur Maze. Now traffic very slow at the Bay Bridge this morning because of this. Now you will see that traffic is very, very slow all the way to the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. Also this morning, the San Mateo Bridge, Dumbarton Bridge. San Mateo a little bit busier than normal getting across the peninsula. Not all that bad, but you're going to see more people on it. Likewise for the Dumbarton Bridge. Let's go to Steve.
All right, Sal, thank you. Fog is burning off sooner already. It'll be cool to mild to warm to hot. Depending on your location. If you don't have any sea breeze, then it'll be hot. It'll be in the 90s. Otherwise, 70s and 80s. The big news will be on Saturday when the wind turns north-northeast, and it looks like we'll get a rapid warm-up into the really hot category, maybe that Fresno kind of hot. 50s on the temps here, low to mid. Some areas cooled down yesterday, some warmed up. I'll tell you, I'm throwing in the towel. If you're in the sun, it'll be warm to hot. If you're far enough inland, it'll be warm to hot. If you're by the coast, it'll be cool to nice. Fog, sun, warm, breezy afternoon. Still getting a westerly breeze right now, but that's expected to turn more northerly later. So 60 to 90 degrees, and temperatures then tomorrow with some patchy fog then start to warm up fast, and Saturday and Sunday look breezy, windy, and warm with high fire danger.
All right, thank you, Steve. It is 7:20. Obviously much more, and the big trouble for BART riders and, in fact, the whole Bay Area commute. A huge fire in West Oakland has stopped BART trains traveling across the bay between Oakland and San Francisco. We've just learned it is an all-day problem.
There's been a little major problem earlier this morning, but they're working on that and they're trying to resume service as soon as possible.
Stay tuned. We'll continue our team coverage, live coverage of this morning's commuter meltdown.
722, continuing coverage right now on our developing news. An early morning fire at a construction site has turned into a commuter nightmare right now. This was at a senior center that was under construction very close to the West Oakland BART station. So right now, BART service is shut down across the bay. Now, it's important to mention BART is still running in the East Bay, like from Bay Point to Lafayette, and in the West Bay, from Colma to Embarcadero, for example, but you just cannot travel between Oakland and San Francisco. And that's causing a lot of problems. KTVU's Claudine Wong is live at the 19th BART station, 19th Street BART station, where a lot of people are waiting to be shuttled into San Francisco. They've been waiting a long time, Claudine.
They are, and these buses aren't coming in a regular fashion, and some of them coming are full. So I want to take a look, or give you a look at the situation here. That's the front of the line. But I want you to take a look at where this line goes, because the look on people's faces when they see the end of this line is unbelievable. Take a look as it goes all the way down the block as far as our eyes can see, and that line keeps growing as people head over here trying to get a bus into San Francisco. I want to talk to this gentleman. I'm going to walk you down here because you're not actually even in line. When you walked up here, what did you think when you saw this?
Oh, no, I'm actually in line. I'm trying to get to work to the city, too. But
where's your place in line?
I'm all the way at the end.
But you were taking pictures. Do you want to show your boss that you might be a little late?
Yeah, so she believed me, you know what I mean? I don't know if she believed that I told him that was a fire on BART, but see this line, it's pretty epic.
How long do you think it's going to take you to get in?
I'm calling in. I'm going home.
You're going home. You're giving up.
Done.
You're giving up. Well, at least you can do that. All right, good luck to you. All the rest of these folks are trying to be patient as they wait to see if they're actually going to make it in. I can tell you, we've been here since before 6:30 this morning, and we've seen 3 buses come. Keep in mind, each of these buses hold 50 to 60 people, and a lot of these buses that have been coming have been full. So I talked to the supervisor out here, and I said, when are they going to send you other buses that aren't full? She said, look, they're coming from other locations. They're picking up people here. They're trying to squeeze as many people in as they can, but obviously it's very difficult. And so the folks who are waiting here are just going to have to keep on waiting until they get enough buses over here to bring them in. The good news is, as you just heard, that some of these people I've been talking to, they said, look, I'm worried about getting in. I'm also worried about getting home. It looks like they may be able to get home if BART does restore service like they just told us they were going to by this evening, but that does remain to be seen. So the line just continues to grow. Literally, people just keep coming across the street, getting in line. How long it'll take to get to this line, it's just impossible to say, because we've been watching and waiting. We show you 2 buses in our last report. We haven't seen a bus since. So buses moving through here, trying to get people to their destination. It's not happening quickly. People getting a little frustrated out here. Live in Oakland, Claudine Wong, KTVU, Channel 2 News.
Yeah, Claudine, I like what that guy said. The line is epic. I think that's
epic. Yes, it is. It is unbelievable, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. We can't even see the end of it.
Wow. All right. Well, like that young man did, might be good just to call it a day and head home. All right. Thank you, Claudine. Well, there is continuing coverage of this story throughout mornings on 2. And coming up at 7:30, reporter Kara Lou with a witness in the fire zone where this all started, what he saw and heard.
All right, Tori, time now, 7:26. Sal, you and News Chopper 2, you're going to try to help them as much as possible, right?
You know, we've been looking at, I even tried to go to the East Bay Ferry website, and their site has crashed. So I think a lot of people had that, inclination. I go to eastbayferry.com, and it's just not letting me bring it up. I've tried on several computers, so I think they're probably having a bad morning over there. Let's go out and take a look at the commute here on 880 northbound. You could see traffic very, very slow coming out of Oakland. And also very slow this morning on 580 getting to the MacArthur Maze, the big backup at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. Also this morning we're looking at some other things here. The traffic in the South Bay has been happily normal. It is slow here and there, but it has not been affected by all this craziness in the East Bay. 101's a little slow, and so is 280. I want to show you the San Mateo Bridge. It's getting more wear and tear today, and now there's a minor accident westbound on the shoulder, but there are more people on the San Mateo Bridge trying to get over to the peninsula as people are avoiding the Bay Bridge lines, and 880 is going to be a little slow heading south, but I'd still say it's a decent alternate route. Now let's go to Steve.
All right, actually we'll check in with Steve in just a moment, but we can tell you now we'll have more on this morning's massive fire in Oakland. That fire, of course, has led to commuter chaos on Bay Area highways, so we've just learned the problems are going to continue until at least this afternoon.
And workers are examining and working on the tracks right now. We'll give you a live look just ahead.
Also, overnight gunfire leads to a manhunt in the East Bay.
It is 7:30. Returning to our top story this morning, more on the BART shutdown. As Sal mentioned minutes ago, BART hopes to resume full service between Oakland and San Francisco by this evening. Now, a fire broke out near the West Oakland BART station about 5 hours ago. KTVU's Kara Lou is in the fire zone as crews continue to water down the area. Good morning, Kara.
Good morning. Well, we are here at 7th and Mandela here in Oakland, and this intersection just opened about a half an hour ago, but you can see the lights still aren't functioning correctly yet. It's creating quite a bit of confusion here. Now, if you look just beyond this intersection, you can see BART workers examining the tracks, doing what they can to get everything back on track. And if you take a look just behind that, that is the 880 freeway. You can see traffic is moving at a crawl. Morning commute again, just a mess between Oakland and San Francisco. Here's why. A massive fire earlier this morning. It started just about 2:15. You could see that firefighters were clearly aware of how close this was to the BART tracks and the West Oakland BART station. Flames were shooting high into the air. We've heard some estimates 150 feet into the air from firefighters. Also a ton of thick black smoke. And what was on fire was a senior apartment complex that was under construction here near 7th and Mandela. The 120-unit project was in the framing stages. Investigators are looking to see if arson is to blame. Meanwhile, witnesses telling us the explosions they heard sounded like gunshots.
About 2:20 this morning, I was asleep, and I heard a big old explosion, just boom, and looked out my front door. I didn't see nothing. By the time I got back to the bed, I started hearing alarms and got back up again and just seen flames all just shooting straight up in the air.
Again, no service, BART service between Oakland and San Francisco right now. BART hoping to get everything up and running by this evening, but there's no service right now because this fire caused damage to insulators, communications, and electrical cables and equipment. And a lot of trains here in the East Bay are being turned around at the 12th Street station. BART saying again, they're not sure how long service will be shut down, but hoping to get it up and running by this evening. BART recommending folks find another way to get across the Bay this morning. We are also hearing of some problems and long lines at bus stations, so folks are just doing what they can to get to work on time. For now, we are live in Oakland. Carol Lou, KTVU, Channel 2 News. Sal, let's go to you.
All right, this morning's commute obviously is in bad shape. I want to show News Chopper 2 the lines at downtown Oakland BART stations, 12th Street. There's a line there. Apparently there are some buses picking up people, and you saw earlier that also at 19th Street, Claudine was telling us that there are a lot of lines for people who would normally come to the BART station, and they're trying to figure out another way to get into San Francisco, including using AC Transit. I want to show you some video that we have here of the tracks, how close they are to the fire, and the BART workers that were up there fixing it. They have told us again that they hope to have all service restored by 5 o'clock this afternoon and partial service by early afternoon as they repair the insulators on the electric third rail. Let's move along now at 7:33. In fact, this is the only video we have. We're going to have another traffic update coming up. This is the wide shot here of the building right next to the BART tracks. It's 7:34 now. Let's go back to the desk.
All right, and actually, Sal, I just checked BART's website, and they say they do want to mention that there is BART service still available in the East Bay and the West Bay. For example, Richmond to Fremont trains are running. On the Fremont to Daly City line, trains from Fremont are turning at 12th Street. At the Oakland City Center Station, trains from Pittsburgh Bay Point also turning around at 12th Street. Oakland City Center Station, trains from Dublin Pleasanton are turning at the Bay Fair Station, and trains from Millbrae, Daly City, and SFO are turning at the Embarcadero Station. And they're obviously just limited to the trains they have on either side of the bay, so service will not be on its regular schedule, but you can still get around on BART. You just cannot get across the bay.
Right, Tori. And one of the things I want to mention is a lot of people are taking their cars over to the peninsula, and then they're going to drive over to Millbrae, and then from Millbrae you can take the train all throughout San Francisco stations and up to Peninsula here, and a lot of people will be taking the train to the Colma BART station to get the shuttle to the U.S. Open. A lot of people, there's a day game today, Tori, the Giants and also the U.S. Open, so a lot of people need to get to the Peninsula, and that's what they're doing. Yeah, all right, and problems there in the San Mateo Bridge, as we could see on that map on 92. All right, we will return to the fire scene.
throughout the morning for live updates. We will also post any new information about the fire, any changes in BART service. Al just mentioned it will be resuming all BART service scheduled at 5 p.m. Also, how AC Transit is helping commuters this morning. That'll be on our website and also can be sent to your mobile device at ktvu.com.
Our time is now 7:35. Overnight, a shooting in East Oakland injured 2 people. This happened about 11 o'clock last night at the Lockwood Gardens housing complex, 65th Avenue and East Lawn. Police say 2 people were standing in front of the apartments when shots were fired at them. Both victims were wounded at least once, but neither suffered life-threatening injuries. No arrests have been made. Police in San Jose investigating a stabbing attack. Police rushed to Mallard Court about 8:30 last night after getting reports of a fight. Now, when they got there, a 35-year-old man had been stabbed. He was later treated for serious injuries. Police say the attackers ran off. They are still on the loose.
7:36 this morning, San Francisco District Attorney George Gascon will formally announce the felony charges filed against the bicyclist who hit and killed a pedestrian. 36-year-old Chris Bucari is seen here in online video. He's facing a charge of felony vehicular manslaughter for running over and killing a 71-year-old man in the Castro district in March. Prosecutors have concluded that Bucari was grossly negligent in the accident.
I think juries in San Francisco are going to look at bicyclist behavior very, very seriously because they don't want to be hit by a bicycle and they don't want to be killed by a bicyclist.
The cyclist ignited an uproar after the deadly accident. Bucari reportedly posted a comment online saying it was a crowded sidewalk and he plowed through the, quote, least crowded spot he could find. He's now expected to surrender to authorities within the next 2 days.